Hey, this is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about learned helplessness in software development. All right, so I've been in technology, I've been in software development for just over nearly 25 years. This year it'll be 25 years. In July will be the start of my first technology job. Ugh. So over the years I've worked for big companies, small companies. I've worked for companies where I was the only developer. I've worked at companies where I was in a development team. I've worked as an indie developer where I put up my own applications. I've worked as with Overpass where I take on clients and I have multiple projects going on at the same time. And one scenario that comes up from time to time is lots of requests for help on simple things. Now, let me know if you agree, if you've experienced this kind of thing before or not, because I'm sure most of you have. If you're a developer working with clients or working in a company, you probably know this, where you're bombarded with requests for small little things that the other person could do themselves if they just skilled up just a little bit. So one of these things, when we talk about imposter syndrome as a software developer, one of the reasons I suffer from it is because I know how easy a lot of the stuff I do is. Some things are hard. Some bits of knowledge are like hard fought for, like the nights of just like, why isn't this working? And just sort of, you're working your way through problems, everything like that, learning the next, looking at other people's code, working with the developers who are better than you, being able to structure things properly, document things properly, test things properly, build automated tests and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff comes through, but some things are just like, they should have been able to find this themselves. And that's one of the things I get frustrated about. It's almost like a learned helplessness. I've said this through the years that I think the thing that separates a really good software developer from a bad software developer, or even just a non-developer, is our ability to sit with a problem until things are done. Right? I've never liked the idea of going to somebody else for help. I don't know what it is. I can remember being in 20 years ago, 22 years, 24 years ago in my first technology job, and I was writing some VB script, which I just learned, right? It was awful. There were no functions. It was spaghetti code. Even when I think about it now, but I was like working my way through it, and I couldn't get something working, and I can remember just sitting there and I'm just frustrated, and there's and my manager kept saying, why didn't you go downstairs and ask Pat? And Pat was a developer, a senior developer down on the 3rd floor. I was like on the 8th floor or whatever in this investment bank. And it was like, he was and Pat's his real name. Screw it, I'm not going to say his last name, but he was the biggest prima donna of all time. Every time I go, I really don't want to go to see Pat about this. I go, well, why don't you go see him? Because he's we're paying him a lot of money. He was a contractor. We're paying him a lot of money, and he's, you might as well use that resource while it's available. So I go down there and I say, Pat, I can't get this thing working. He goes, all right, Eric, let's have a look. What do you need now? And he's just there, And after a few of those kind of times of him doing that, it's like, I never wanted to see Pat again. Pat was an asshole. I mean, this may be the first time I swear on this channel. Asshole, does that really count? But he was. Like, if you met him, you go, yeah, that's it, right? In fact, next time you meet an asshole, you think, is your name Pat? Because it might be him. I hate that guy. Anyway, he was such a jerk that I never wanted to go see him again, and that was probably the best thing. Like, if he helped me out, like, really well, if he was friendly and helped me out, I probably would not have advanced. I would not have been sitting there going, no, I'll figure it out myself. I'll work my way through this. Back then, Google was still, Google didn't exist, but, you could still search for things. I'll search MSDN for this. And, I was able to work through it and get better. And that's one of those things where you learn new skills because you know how important it is, right? Whereas if he was really, really super helpful, I would not have grown as a developer. It's something to think about. I had another person I worked with, he was another contractor, that he would intentionally, when people ask him for really simple questions, he would make them wait. And most of the time they come back and say, oh no, I figured it out. So it was that kind of that waste of time thing. But, there is this thing called, learned helplessness, and it's something that it exists. And I think, it's difficult doing software development. When you're getting started, when you're learning how to do things, it's easy to give up. It's easy to seek help from somebody else. But the longer you can sit with the problem yourself and see if you can solve it yourself, the stronger you will be the next time. It's the same with, again, we always talk about lifting weights. It's the same as lifting weights. You know, you can't lift it and you could struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle, or you could get somebody else to go lift it for you. And you know, that doesn't help you at all. In the end, it's the struggling that helps. Anyway, let me know, do you work in an environment where you have somebody who has that learned helplessness? Like they can't seem to do anything on their own. They're saying like, oh, I don't know what to do. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that is it for today. I'll talk to you again